Hey friends, have you ever felt like you've been on a diet for basically forever? Like you're on a diet roller coaster? Maybe you've lost the weight and then you gained it all back, and not only did those pounds come back, they brought more with them. Maybe you have constant food noise and body chatter going on in your head. I totally feel that. I'm Rachel. I lost 50 pounds, over 50. I went from a size 14 US to a 4. I'm here sharing with you because I tried so long to crack this code of losing weight and keeping it off that I promised myself that if I ever figured it out, I would tell the world. Today, I'm going to share 3 lessons that I learned along the way that have really helped me lose my weight and keep it off. And I know you'll find some nuggets of wisdom in here that can help inspire you on your journey too. The first one is the power of having a dare to dream weight, and I'll explain more what that is in a minute. The second is why great is the most permanent state. And again, that's going to need some explaining. And the last one is the power of daily consistency. So my first lesson I learned was actually from the Body Slims program that I did to lose a big chunk of my weight. And I am not paid or sponsored by them, but if you've ever hung around with anyone in Body Slims, everyone talks about a dare to dream weight. So I had heard of that before I started Body Slims, but I didn't know what it was or how powerful it was. When I started my weight loss journey, I was like, if I could just lose 20 pounds this year, that would be amazing. And it would be, and it was. And so when I started Body Slims, I was already down about 10 pounds. So I set my goal for 10 more pounds. And then as I got into the program, they kept talking about this dare to dream weight. And what that was very different than just the goal that I already had. Like, I am going to lose 20 pounds before the sun sets on this year if it kills me. That was a very different approach. The dare to dream weight, as Jer, the creator of Body Slims, put it, he said, we're not just talking about I should lose a little weight because my doctor said I should, or so I'd have more self-respect, or so my jeans wouldn't be too tight because it's a good idea. We're like bringing sexy back. Like, we are dreaming of what would be ideal, what would be incredible, like showing up to your next reunion back at your high school or college weight, or your pre-baby weight, or fitting into your pre-baby jeans, I know is a big one for a lot of moms. Or maybe it's just a size. Maybe you've never been at that size that you dream of being. For some people I know it's being able to wear jeans and wear a belt. Some people don't even have a reference point of where they would like to be or what that would feel like. But for me, I did. I got super fit in my 40s. And I had this one picture that was just like, when I started thinking about a dare to dream, be like, if I could get back into the body I had then and the way that I felt and moved, that would be amazing. Younger Rachel was a gymnast and a dancer, and I've always loved to move. So when I started to focus on that picture, I really started to have a different feeling. And this is the power of daring to dream versus just setting a goal. And to give you an example of how this is different, from my professional life in real estate, I see people wanting to buy a house, and maybe they're in a townhome or a condo, and suddenly they have kids and a dog, and they're like, oh, we need space to let the pets out and the kids. At first they look at prices and they think, no way, can we ever get there? But then before they know it, they just find themselves searching Zillow like it's their job. And they start opening their mind up to, like, how could it happen? How is that possible? And oh my goodness, that'd be so nice to have a house in that location. Oh, look at that yard and more bedrooms for the kids. Whatever it is they're dreaming of, they start looking at pictures and they start processing what would it take to get there. And when you start thinking like that, it's juicy, it's exciting. People start paying off debt. They start changing their budget. Literally, when you start dreaming versus just setting a goal, your life starts to rearrange to accommodate that goal almost unconsciously. And that is the best way I can explain to you the power of daring to dream. Now, if you ever choose to do the Body Slims program, you will start to understand what I'm saying. But even if you never join Body Slims, I just want you to consider the difference between dreaming and just plain old goal setting for reasons that don't really move you, like the doctor said I needed to drop a few or something like that. When you can start to visualize, and sometimes it is very hard because if you've never been at a weight you dream of, you might not believe it's possible for you. So sometimes, from my world of life coaching, I can tell you sometimes it's good to kind of ladder to a thought, like just maybe it's possible I could be a size 10, or I could wear some jeans and belt them up, and maybe if you could just let yourself imagine walking into a fitting room and trying on that dream size or styles, or looking like someone who has a similar body type to you that you really admire, and just let your mind go there. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't harm you in any way to just start to dream. And at first, your mean inner voice might be like, you can't do that. But as time goes on, if you let yourself start to believe it, visualize it, even for a few minutes a day, because I guarantee right now you're visualizing something, and it's probably what you don't want, and that's just going to be more of the same, or if I lose weight, I'll just gain it back. Maybe turn your focus to what is possible, and what would be ideal, and what would be a dream. That is powerful. I'm sure you know athletes do this all the time. They picture themselves doing the dive or the balance beam routine many, many times. They see themselves standing on the podium winning. Other teams picture themselves in the playoffs. They run their plays a million times, of course, but they also run it in their head. And that's how you do it. That is the power of dreaming. The second lesson that I learned is that great is the most permanent state. Now, that definitely needs some explaining. And the first time I heard that in Body Slims from Jared, the previous head coach, I was like, what does he mean? So to explain, when I set my initial goal at about a 20 to 25 pound weight loss, that was so good. I felt so good. And as you start losing weight, people will be like, you look great. And they're right, you do. It's such a big improvement, and you will start feeling better and more energized and more empowered as you start to lose that extra weight. But if it's not really your best, if you haven't gone as far as you can actually go to that dare to dream weight, it becomes really easy to kind of slack off again. And I know this is where I've gotten, and then kind of just went back to my old ways, and eventually went back to my old weight. In fact, I have a saying, if you go back to your old ways, you'll go back to your old weight. And that's what kind of creates that diet roller coaster. But if you can keep going and push yourself to get to that dare to dream weight, you will get to a point, at least I did, I can only speak for myself and a lot of other people I know, but a lot of people I have known that have really pushed to get to where they really dreamed of being, nothing could drag you away from that. Like, you will learn along the way that those sacrifices are so worth it, like foregoing the dessert sometimes, or the movie theater popcorn, or some of those little things along the way will result in trying on the dream size pants, or showing up at the reunion just feeling your best, or showing up on a beach in a bikini. I don't know. Whatever it is for you, if you get there and you feel that feeling, you don't ever want to let it slip away. It's so much better than anything you'll ever eat. And again, I'm speaking for myself and lots of other people that I know, because I have so many friends in the Body Slims community that are familiar with this terminology and this concept that great is the most permanent state. So that's a new one for a lot of people. I know it was for me, even though I consider myself an expert in mindset and self-help concepts. And so with all of this, I want to make sure I explain, this does not make you body obsessed. For the longest time, I thought maybe I wanted to lose weight because I was just body obsessed. But then I just could not shake the feeling. And then as I did start to move towards that, first that good weight and then that dare to dream weight, I started to realize that no, this was not me being body obsessed. This was my best self calling to me, my highest self saying, you are awesome the way you are. And you're amazing, and you're beautiful, and you're healthy and strong. I exercised regularly. I took care of myself. I tried to eat right. But there was something better for me, and something inside of me kept calling to me until I responded to it. And it was not body obsession. And I think deep down I knew it was, because I'm not that type of person. And I bet maybe you aren't either, but maybe you just know that I would look better, I would feel better, I could show up for my kids better. And if you are a mom, like I am, I have 6 children, they're all grown now, but what's good for mom is good for the kids, you know? And even husbands, if you have one, or partner, like when I started showing up for myself and started really making some positive changes, my husband, I think, lost about 20 pounds himself, and I didn't really think he had it to lose. He's never had a big weight problem, but he feels so much better. We both just had our 40-year class reunions. I think we showed up being about 10 pounds over what we were in high school, which, let me tell you, talk about an amazing feeling. And not to show off, but just, I didn't know I could feel this good. And when you find yourself in that position, it's just, unbelievably great. Just take my word for it if you're still on your journey or contemplating going on that journey. So the last lesson I'm going to talk to you about today is what I learned about the power of daily consistency. And consistency is not the same as perfection. I already had super healthy habits. I exercised very regularly. I always have. I'm a very active person throughout the day. You'll rarely find me sitting down. I mean, some people say I'm hyper and I have ADHD, but whatever. They could be wrong. No, I'm just kidding. So I was eating well, I was exercising regularly, even climbing a mountain in town regularly that's notoriously hard, or doing classes at the gym, going out walking. But I didn't do those things every single day until I committed to my weight loss. So commitment was number one, and then consistency with those daily habits of daily walks. I weigh myself daily, and I'll talk more about that in another video, but so I stay on top of things on a daily basis, logging my food and staying in my calorie allowance daily, and just not letting up on that. If I had to change when I did my walk, or if I had to shorten it a little bit. In Body Slims, it's an hour a day, but now I just shoot for at least a 5K every single day. So about 3 miles, which depending on how fast or slow I go, can be 40 minutes to an hour. Doing those things every single day is what really started to move the needle, so to speak, on the scale. That really taught me the difference between most of the time and all of the time. And I promise, if you can commit to those few simple daily habits that I just mentioned, like getting in a 5K every day, logging your food, and staying in a reasonable calorie allowance, that will change things. And if you get to that Dare to Dream weight, when you maintain those habits, you will maintain your weight. All your work isn't done, but I will talk about that in another video. When this really came home for me was when I was in my 3rd round of Body Slims. So I've done 4 rounds of Body Slims, 2 to lose the weight and 2 for maintenance, just because I wanted to stick around a little bit longer and reinforce my good habits. So during my 3rd round, which was my first round of maintenance, I had some big challenges. We went on 3 fabulous vacations, broke my toe, and walking became really hard, and I got COVID. So I had all those challenges, and yet I was still able to maintain within like 1 pound of my Dare to Dream weight, and I still am to this day. And it was and is through the power of daily consistent habits. I don't let up on those habits anymore. I'm not talking about perfection, because we're never going to be perfect, but if we are paying attention, if we are so much more aware than we have been in the past, you can make so much progress. If you want to keep this up your whole life, it can't be a horrible experience. If you lose weight through gritting your teeth and hating your life and making your family grumpy because you won't make them anything good to eat, or you are eating your little chicken breast and broccoli while they're all having a good time and watching the game, eating nachos. You know, if you go about it that way, or from a place of like self-loathing instead of self-love, it becomes so much harder to maintain that weight loss. So my approach now in maintaining my weight loss is a very loving, gentle approach, but consistency is key. So I hope that these 3 lessons have been helpful to you, and that you can think about what would be my Dare to Dream weight, and what would it feel like to be in the greatest state that I'm capable of right now, and my age and stage in life, and what my physical limitations and abilities are. And then how can I be more consistent? Because if you're like me and you've had good habits, but you're not getting to where you want to be, it is frustrating and it feels so disempowering. So I am here today to empower you. And I hope some of these lessons have been helpful to you, and there is so much more content to come. So I hope that you'll consider subscribing, hitting the like button, the thumbs up button, and the bell for notifications so you'll be notified when new videos come along. And especially comment and share something that resonated with you, or something you've learned if you've been on a weight loss journey or a weight loss roller coaster. And I really appreciate you being here. I will see you in the next video.